Welcome to the Left Wing King podcast. Today we'll be talking about the mandatory paternity test that a lot of fellas are trying to get at. We're also going to talk a little bit about the disadvantages of raising kids outside of marriage, and we're going to talk about the latest Trump fiasco. I want to thank all of our listeners out there on Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, Google, everything. Thank you all for tuning in as usual. And I also want to thank everybody for joining us for this live stream on Facebook and YouTube. If you are following us on this live stream, make sure that you leave a comment and I will definitely get it cracking and post it in here so we can have a discussion around it. Now, I am your HMIC, your head moderator in charge, Malik, and I'm joined today by the Queen, Tina.
Hello.
My main man, Ace.
What up? What up?
And we have a special guest joining us today. All right. He is the creator of Manhood is a Skill Set, our manhood guru, Kerry Kzaggin. All right. What's up, Kerry?
How y'all doing, man? Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Hey, I just had to throw the effects on there. I'm sorry, a little cheesy, but I had to give my man his props because my man is doing big things out there in the manhood community, in the relationship community, as a matter of fact. So I want to thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about, yourself and what you got going on right now.
All right. So real quick, for those of you who don't know, I am visible on YouTube. I do have a new channel, The Return of Manhood. Right. I did have a channel that was called Kzaggin 20 Manhood is a Skill Set. Unfortunately, that channel is no longer with us, RIP, but I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So
No doubt.
I want people to understand that in today's society, to be a man today is a premium. Masculinity has been watered down to the point where many of our young men don't know how to be leaders, not only of their own lives, but they don't know how to be effective leaders for those that are under their charge or under their wing. And it could be their women, it could be their children, what have you.
Yeah, I like that, man. And for those of you who don't know, man, please get on the new channel, man. The Return of Manhood. Get on that because my man talks, he speaks facts, man. Speaks the truth every time he says something. You may not agree with what he said, but that's life. We don't agree with everybody out there, right? This, if we all agree with anything, this whole world would be a lot boring, right? But at the end of the day, he spits facts. And if you know what you want, he can help you get to where you want to be. So
there you have it.
Big ups.
Appreciate
Now,
that, Phil.
let's go ahead and get into the meat of this discussion today. Tennessee, talking about men. These men out here, man. These men out here, they grasp for straws, man. They want help with everything. So in Tennessee, paternity tests are mandatory for unwed parents before the father's name can be added to the birth certificate. So some men outside of Tennessee are like, hey, I want to get a piece of that action. I'd love it if, we had that mandatory paternity test here in Tennessee. So Kerry, what's your opinion on this? Tell us a little bit about your thoughts here.
Okay, well, this is what I'll say about the Tennessee decision to make it mandatory. I think it's a good thing. Paternity fraud has been a point of contention with a lot of men. You have a lot of men, whether unwed or wed, where they're coming to find out that the children they believe was theirs are not theirs later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes what happens is they might end up paying child support for said child or children. So with this law, what it's going to do is going to prevent some women from basically saying that this child or children are yours.
Right.
And they're really not. Now, my issue with that, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate with this, is there are a lot of men who've been calling for this. They wanted to make it mandatory for a while. But my thing is, I felt like a lot of guys, instead of just finding a way to make sure that the child or children is theirs, they were complaining about the paternity fraud. And my thing is, as a man, anytime you invite a woman into your life, okay, you are responsible and accountable for what happens with that situation.
Right.
So if you decide to ease up in a woman unprotected, right, you ejaculate in that woman, okay, there's the possibility she can get pregnant. What I felt that guys wanted to do, they wanted the government or the state to step in and say, hey, you know what, guy, you made a conscious decision to have sex with these women. We got your back. Don't worry about being accountable for your decision to have unprotected sex. We're going to make sure that you don't get screwed over by this woman.
Yeah.
And that's my whole point is, at the end of the day, you're still accountable for your decisions.
Who's stopping that woman from getting screwed over? Because they've been getting screwed over for a long time. And women are caring individuals. They are much more willing to say, hey, let's handle this outside of getting the law involved, and I'll help you by not putting you on child support and not making you get it to, let's just, handle this as adults. And women are more likely to do that because they're caring and nurturing individuals, and sometimes they get screwed over for being nice. So
you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
I would agree. And I mean, if you did the math, you probably can point out more single mothers who've been left to care for children by themselves without the father versus women who are actually putting babies on dudes that aren't theirs.
Yeah,
that's the issue right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, and the Tennessee decision, yeah, I think it's guys want the Tennessee to be Maury Povich, make that decision for him. You know what I'm saying? End of the day, man, they need to.
Are they gonna do it like Maury Povich style? They just gonna bring them out on the monitor?
You are not the father.
There you go.
You know, I think Kerry hits a point when he says you shouldn't put yourself in that position in the first place, and if you do, you need to be responsible for it. And that's basically where it kind of falls into that thing. It's not the act or what's happening at that particular time, it's what happens after. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's a lot of guys out there that play that game, man. Well, you know what? I don't want to, I'm not the father, and you blah blah blah, and then they don't want to pay for the paternity test because a lot of places have paternity tests.
Yeah,
you got to pay for it. You got to pay for it.
Yep.
And then what happens is you get hit up with the hit up with the charges or whatever the case may be, and responsibility.
I have to say, sitting here between y'all two men, being very defensive for women is very comforting. But women holding accountability in this too. We letting you slide up unprotected. We're not protecting ourselves, and we
But here's the problem: how many women actually have honor and integrity, though? Not to say that women don't, but
There's not a lot.
how many of them would be that understanding and not cool with it, though? That's the problem. A lot of people, men and women, are included, are very, very selfish and immature, and they take offense to things, and then they want to battle you or they want to play the victim.
Right. You're right, and that's what it boils down to: integrity. If you're being honest with the dude you're with, you shouldn't have a problem proving it.
Exactly. I feel you on that.
So apologize to everybody online. I guess we had a little audio issue. Should be back now. Should be good to go. You got it now, Tina?
I can hear it on Facebook, but I cannot hear it on YouTube.
All right.
All right. But yeah, man, it's just coming down to making good decisions on who you're with, man. I think what it is, when you're talking paternity tests, it's already kind of too late. Just being real, guys, you got the most to lose.
Oh, yeah.
And what I mean by, and I'm not talking about like when it comes to, because women will say, hey, well, now I got to raise the kid. I'm raising about, of course we know that. But what I mean by that, when you talk about the actual paternity test, if you got that question, it's better for you just go ahead and pay for it yourself and do it. Like, yeah, you could play the 50-50 or whatever. But if you're at the point, and to me, almost where if you're at the point where you don't want to pay for a paternity test, and why you questioned it in the first place, man, just go ahead and ride it out. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead and
sign that paperwork, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because once you sign it, don't matter.
Exactly. It's a wrap. You can get it. You can do whatever you need to do after that. You signed.
But in Texas, if you're not married and you have a baby and you put a guy on child support, Texas does make you get a paternity test and makes the guy pay for it. It's added to his work cost.
Do they make the guy pay for it if they prove that the child is his?
He has to pay for it whether it is or not.
That's wild.
Now he can fight it, but the burden is always on the man to fight it. He can fight it and have it charged back to the chick, because he's not going to have to pay child support. But the burden is always on the.
And man. I will tell you that it happened to me. Like before I was married.
Yes.
Had relations with somebody, and then after I was married, they came back. I get something in the mail like you are the father. You got to go to court. I said, no, I ain't. Right. So I knew that I had protected sex with this woman, but for some reason, she want to go ahead and just throw it out there like I'm the daddy, whatever. She want, like you said, roll the dice. You see who got the. I think it was. I don't know if it was you, Tina, said looking for the person with the most money. See if he the daddy, so I can get up some of his money. So I was like, all right, well, we gonna fight this. So the first thing I did was I said, look, we getting a paternity test now. So got it done. I don't know why she agreed to do it because she knew it wasn't mine. But got it, and I had to pay for it.
And it ain't cheap.
And it came back that, okay, you are not the father. 99.9%. You ain't the daddy.
Wow.
She got a copy of that. I got a copy of it. Guess what happened? 6 months later, I get something from Texas, Attorney General, Houston. You're being claimed to be the father of this child.
Again? Same chick?
Yeah. The first time she just did it between me and her. She just contacted me, said yada yada yada. I had to, tell my wife all this shit like this. It was before you, blah blah blah.
She mad.
My wife was mad still. Well, my wife was mad. Okay, about that.
Be.
Well, she ain't mad today, but she was mad then. I'm like, baby. I mean, we was dating when it happened. I ain't gonna lie. Like I was, messed up. Something happened. We broke up for a minute.
Yeah,
I did some stuff. Pause. Yeah, came back. But anyway. She was mad about it then. She's like, this better not be your baby. I said, look, even if it is my baby, I'm taking care of it. But if it ain't, I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come back. It wasn't. Okay, cool. She got a copy. I got a copy. Why is she going to go to the state after that?
Again?
Yes. Yeah. The first time it was she just came at me.
Okay. Oh, that's right. The first time. And that was the second time.
Yeah, the second time I get something from the state. Talk about you the daddy. I said, ain't this some shit? I got a court date. So I go to court. I bring that I paid for paternity test. They took it in account. They were like, okay, you can go. It ain't yours. You can leave. And that was it. I never heard about it again. But to your point, paternity fraud
is big.
It's real. It can happen to anybody. Anybody just throw your name out there.
And it's both
say it's you.
And you just wasted your time with that.
Money, time, made my wife mad.
Peace of mind.
Now, everything.
You know it wasn't yours, but your wife is like, I don't know. Maybe you eased up in it. Maybe the condom broke. You ain't being honest about it. Who knows?
Yep. Wow. Exactly.
Wow, that's
so. Yeah. So it happens. That's just my point, man.
Trifling, man.
Hey, that there's a need, to your point, there's a need for mandatory testing. And if the state's gonna pay for it, great, because them shits ain't cheap. I mean, maybe it's cheap here, some places, but when I did it on my own,
it's not.
That shit was not cheap. I'm like, it ain't no joke, man. It can change your life.
No, it can change your life. And let me say this, you know, based on what happened with the young lady. There's nothing wrong with sex. You know, if you want to engage in casual sex, that's cool. But that's the drawback. Is you dealing with a woman you don't know. You really don't know her character.
Yeah.
You just know both of you are sexually attracted to each other. Also, and to your point, because you said earlier, why are you waiting until you years into the situation and then you want to question the paternity? That's that vetting process. Are you properly vetting that woman? I think a lot of people, and I personally know guys, they get into these relationships for superficial, shallow reasons, and there's no substance with them or the woman. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys, that's why when guys, they want a relationship, I ask why. Why do you want a girlfriend? And it's always, I just want someone. And it's like, is that why? Really?
And they're gonna just take anybody that shows attraction or interest in them.
And someone who can give them sex all the time. They want in-house sex. They want access to sex all the time. And I'm like, is that why? Is that the real reason you get into a relationship? Just so you can have someone to climb up in every other day or whatever it is. And when you do that, or when you have a relationship just that's built on the physical, but there's no substance, something is going to happen. Man, look, when we do our shows, guys call in all the time, and they'll tell us about the problems they're having with women. And the first thing I'll say, are you hitting it raw? 99% of the time it's yes.
Wow.
And it's like, you're going to be a daddy and don't want to be. It's just a matter of time. And then you're going to be mad at the woman because she's having a baby that you don't want to have, but you're the one that eased up in it and did whatever you did.
Yeah, as well. Hey, just pause for the cause real quick. We got my man Peter J. Milner in the building. What's up, Peter, from the UK? He says, here in the UK, we used to, and to a certain extent, we have a problem with teenage pregnancies. So what he's saying is, you know, there used to be a big problem with teenage pregnancies, but now it's kind of calmed down a little bit, but it still is. So, I mean, that's an issue here too. I mean, and it's part of the conversation that we're having now too. I mean, this isn't just for like adults. I mean, I would assume that this law in Tennessee is going to go towards teenagers or whoever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, and that's sad, but we're talking about grown ass people here. We ain't talking
Exactly.
about
We're talking about grown folks that know what they do. Because sex is a grown folk thing.
Yeah.
It should be.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
Sex is a human thing.
Yeah.
It's anybody.
Right.
Yeah, it's a human thing.
It's
but
animalistic.
But
it is.
We're all biologically inclined to do that. But there's a certain maturity you should have if you're going to engage in that. And unfortunately, you know, teenagers all over the world is doing it. They're not mature enough. They're making bad decisions. Even grown-ups. Yeah. You got people in their 20s and 30s that they ain't got no sense. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I'm just kind of like very, I don't know. I'm very pro, like, make sure that you telling people about things, because we've all made mistakes in our lives where we didn't say the things that we wanted to say. We should have said and didn't tell somebody something. And this is just a way to kind of, it's a cop out, man, for somebody, instead of saying, hey, let's wear protection, or saying, hey, I want a paternity test. I'm not just going to, walk up in this mug with you. I want to do this because I don't, I'm not trying to offend you, but I don't know who you've been with. It's not,
right.
It's not offensive, right? I mean,
at our age, dating in your 40s and 50s, science has brought us far. Women are still having babies in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Are we not talking about, hey, we're attracted to each other. We're eventually going to end up in bed together.
Have a baby in your 40s and 50s.
You'd be surprised.
Hey, yeah, I was about to say, I know a few.
Look, we're both fertile. We're gonna agree that we don't want kids. Our other kids are already grown. We don't want no more kids, right?
Yeah, don't do that.
And then the girl's like, yeah, no, I don't want no more kids. And then she ends up pregnant. We talked about this.
If you don't want no kids, why are you raw dogging?
Hey,
I don't understand.
If you have unprotected sex,
you want
a baby.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
To me, and that's another thing, right? Because there used to be this term, accidental pregnancy. It's not accidental if you're going wrong.
Yeah, and you fall into it.
It was purpose behind that shit.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's supposed to work like that.
That's how having babies works.
Oops, I fell into that.
Yeah.
I was just laying there like,
Yeah. Check it out, man. If you guys want to comment on the topic that we're talking about, man, jump on the live stream on YouTube, Left Wing Kingz. You can comment there, man, and make your point there because we're streaming live. You can see the complete show. You can see everybody's face.
Yes, sir.
On Left Wing Kingz.
Appreciate
so definitely, we love you to jump in, man. Please, somebody chime in and ask. Let's ask a question, man. Should Texas have paternity test, mandatory paternity test? You think that's something that we can get some answers on? So
yeah, there's a few things that I wanted to kind of touch on too with this topic, man. So I don't know if this is a path that you've already thought about, Kerry, but another important thing, like I will say this, mandatory paternity tests are important because sometimes, like I know somebody who has a kid, the kid is grown now, but found out that the people that, this is, like I said, I'm not gonna put nobody on blast on them, but the people who people think the daddy is, all the females in that family
knew it wouldn't
have they have medical issues like lupus, like all of them. And so there's a girl that was born by this person, and nobody knows who the daddy is. But I'm like, all right, I think the guy's the dad. If they have a paternity test, then they would know. Maybe she would have an idea about her medical history, and she would be able to do things or monitor. So that if she ends
preventative care.
Yeah, I'm like, that's an important thing too, right? About these paternity tests, like medical, history and things like that.
Well, and a lot of guys that found out they weren't the father of kids. That's how it happened. There was some type of medical situation with the child where they had to get a blood test, and then the doctor was like, "Sir, I got to talk to you. Maybe if you want your wife to come in, but you need to know something. Like it could be like a bone marrow transplant or something like that.
Blood transfusions.
And they find out. So there is something with that, with the whole medical history, because that matters. You know what I'm saying? Who your parents are, the type of things they've had in their family history, whether it be diabetes, high blood pressure, things of that nature. That's important to know exactly who the parents are. So I think the mandatory paternity test is definitely going to help, but I don't think guys should be relaxed with that. I think they should still do their due diligence and make sure they know who they're dealing with. And just because the test is there, don't be easing up in these women unprotected, man.
Right.
But,
But,
you know what I'm saying? But
I feel you 100%, man. There still needs to be accountability, and you should take responsibility and ask that question regardless of what state you in.
Yes, I agree.
At the same time, I think that you have just as much responsibility to that child, because that child deserves to know like what their medical, and maybe that's an approach and a way to come at it. Like, hey, look, you know what? I want us to have a paternity test. So I ain't been sleeping with anybody. It's important for the child to know what their medical history is.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. We just dating. And I'm just gonna tell you, I think for the child's sake, and also for the child's, isn't it important to know who your real daddy is? If nothing else. I mean,
bro, we live in a world where the children are the victims in all of this. They're the ones getting the short end of the stick because they're being lied to. And then what if the father finds out that the child is not mine? So there have been men that after 6-7 years of believing they were that child's father, they leave. So now that child is heartbroken. Now that child grows up with all types of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Feeling like they've been left, abandoned,
health issues,
traumatized. Exactly. So, and that's the selfishness.
Right.
Is that these children, multiple lives are impacted, because it's not just the children or the father. It's also the siblings.
Yeah.
It's the cousins. It's the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. Everybody's impacted by that lie.
Exactly.
Everybody who built a relationship with that person.
Exactly.
These kids lose out so much when, whether it is the child or the father's kid or not, that the dads walk away. It's horrible. I knew the guy that was in the Air Force, took care of a kid for 18 years. And she was getting paid because he had an allotment going to that child support. His military people made sure that baby was taken care of. The day after the baby turned 18, she tells him that's not his kid.
That's evil.
At that point, he was upset, but he has an 18-year relationship with the boy. And he wasn't like everybody else. He's like, well, he might not be biologically, but for the last 18 years, he has been, because he went to his football games. He had a relationship with him.
Yeah.
He's like, he's mine as far as I'm concerned. Forget the money.
But that's a good man.
But he can't get a refund.
But that don't mean that she ain't evil.
She is evil.
She foul.
She is evil. And Unfortunately for her, the kid was real mad with her. He stopped talking to her for a long time.
Wow.
But he kept the relationship with his non-biological dad because that was a dad that was present.
We got a few comments here coming through on YouTube and Facebook. So Peter says sex education in the school curriculum for about 13 schools there. He also says there's an option. You can snip it, So theoretically, later in life, there's no excuse for your ass if you snip it.
That's right.
Good point. I mean, you can run around raw dogging all you want to.
If your queen has,
but make sure that's what if you don't want no kids though, because my thing is, I don't think that should
you
be.
You can reverse it though.
But is it 100% though?
Nah,
I think if you're a man in your 20s,
it's easier for a man to
reverse
get
it.
a vasectomy, and it's easier to reverse it. But it's out. It's easy, and you're out.
But see.
But men are scared for
I got a
sharp objects to be near the scrotum.
I'm done. Me and my wife, we ain't going nowhere, and I'm done.
It's just a man's hairy knuckles just holding my joint. I got a problem with that. I got a woman
to do it.
I'm like, why your hands cold?
Hey, they got anesthesia for that, bro. They're gonna put you on anesthesia. You ain't gonna feel nothing.
Here's my thing with the whole snipping. If you're snipping. If you're in your 20s and you're getting snipped just to have raw sex, I think something wrong.
Oh yeah, that's 20. If you're 20, yeah.
Look,
if you're doing it just for that purpose,
you're gonna regret that
talking about
at 40.
sex. There's stuff out there you can't get rid of now.
Exactly.
And you want to be raw dogging everybody?
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
And let me throw that in there because Joyce did throw a comment on here about the STDs.
Well, she in the wrong place. It's called Left Wing Kingz on Facebook.
I know she is, but I got to give her love. You know what? We
Hey,
celebrating
Joyce.
the birthday later, so
I'm like, I can't even put your comment on screen because you want the wrong thing.
That's why I tell people go ahead and comment on the Left Wing Kingz podcast on YouTube. But here we go. She says people became more reckless with protected sex when we came up with cures for so-called incurable STDs.
And she's a nurse.
Oh, well, I can say that I agree with that because Magic Johnson just got everybody comfortable with just raw dogging.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody
Magic
ain't got
Johnson's still good, ain't he?
Magic Johnson's still good. He never got AIDS. He's HIV. He said, I'm gonna quit with this. I'm just gonna stop here at this one and I'm gonna be all right for the rest of my life.
Everybody don't have.
He didn't get AIDS.
Yeah,
Let's get it straight. He never got AIDS. HIV.
HIV, 91, right? And that's when we thought AIDS was that was it. That was a death sentence.
And if you got HIV, you was gonna catch AIDS. It was a wrap.
But now
he got a TV series out on himself.
Bruh. Everybody likes that show. I ain't seen it yet. I seen him like it.
I love, but he won. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, he got movie theaters. He got all kind of stuff. This dude is over the top.
Don't he own some
but I also got
Starbucks
he do. He owns all kind of stuff, man.
Joyce
Him and
jumping
Shaq.
on the right one now.
Oh yeah, whatever, Joyce. He's
on that now.
Look, that's my family. I'm gonna go ahead and talk some noise to her. Where was you at the birthday party? Anyway, I also got Walanda, my queen, online. She says everyone deserves protection, including men. So
that's right.
This is true. Everybody, man, woman, the child.
Everybody.
Definitely. All right. So, I mean, speaking of like protection, we talked about kids. Like kids need to be protected, and it is great when we have the capability to protect our children in a family environment where you have your whole family in that marriage, right? So according to the CDC, though, about 40% of children in the United States are born to unwed parents. So there are a lot of successful families out there who are single parent families. Let's not get it twisted. They're not married. They do great things. Their kids grow up to be great people. But there are some disadvantages at the same time of raising children outside of marriage. So, Kerry, talk a little bit about this controversial topic.
Okay. Well, me, myself, I've had children outside of wedlock, and I've also had children with my ex-wife. So I've seen firsthand what happens. Okay. And let me just say this, and this is for anyone that ever had children out of wedlock, got married later, then had children in wedlock. You're going to have the children out of wedlock that feel away, right? Because your children live with you, the ones that you married the mother. You know what I'm saying? They live with you, but the ones outside of wedlock, they don't live with you. So in some cases, they feel left out.
Yeah.
Like I've had that happen, right? Where they felt left out. Now, also, the disadvantages for men when it comes to out of wedlock children is the whole child support thing. Okay, and that's a big thing, right? And what a lot of guys don't understand is and I'll just use an example. If you're in a 10-year relationship with a young lady and you guys had a child or children outside of wedlock, if that relationship ends, first and foremost, she can get child support going forward, right? For the next 8 years or whatever it is, right? But if for whatever reason she's a spiteful woman or she's scorned or bitter or jaded, whatever it is,
All of the above.
okay, she can go back and get those 10 years that you guys were living together. See, a lot of guys, they don't think about that.
Yeah.
But that woman could go back and say, well, for the first 10 years of the child's life, he wasn't doing anything. And the guy looking like, what do you mean? What was living together? I was paying all the bills. Hey, that don't mean nothing. Because you weren't married, she can flat out lie to the judge.
Wow.
And they're not going to ask for no proof because none of that matters. And what people have to understand, the AG, the Attorney General, it's a hustle. It's a business. Okay, they make money putting people on child support because women on child support too, not like men are.
Right.
But they make money off that. They get a little piece off the top. Hey, this is why it's so hard to get off of child support once you're on, or to even get it reduced because you messing with their money, right? So I would tell guys, the guys say, man, I have some kids. I don't want to get married. And I'm like, that's your choice. But understand the consequences and ramifications for having a child out of wedlock versus being married. Because if you get married, you could be married for 15, 20 years, whatever it is, and you have young children. If you get divorced, she can't go back and get back child support. She can't do that. And I want guys, any men listening, Google Eddie Curry. He used to play for the Chicago Bulls, right? He had at least one child, I believe, out of wedlock with his ex. I believe he paid her $1 million, right? But he gave her money.
Cash.
He gave her cash. And then when the child turned 18, she went to the state in Chicago. She went to the state and she said, he didn't give me a penny. So the state basically ordered him to pay another $1 million.
Wow.
Okay, so this is what I would tell guys. If you have an arrangement with the woman, if y'all break up or whatever it is, if you have an arrangement with the woman to financially take care of the child, you have to send payments through the Attorney General. You can't send them yourself.
Yeah.
They're going to look at them as a gift.
Proof. Yeah.
You got to have proof. Now, if you're dealing with a woman with honor, integrity, then that's one thing. But if you're dealing with a woman who either got some bitter females in her ear, I hate to put it like that, but it's the truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, or if she herself is bitter because maybe you moved on, you started a whole new family, and she just, her life ain't going how she wanted to go. She could be looking at you. And unfortunately, you do have some women out here, they understand the best way to hurt him is his pockets.
Right.
So,
well, luckily here in Texas, I know a case recently, like in the last couple of months, where the father and the mother lived together. And when they broke up, she did try to go back. He had proof that he lived in the same house with the child. Yeah. However, the Attorney General only gave him credit for half of that time, not the whole time. So he still had to pay back half of that time he lived with that kid. But again, the burden of proof is on the father or whoever's getting the child support.
Right.
And it's sad because the father's going to have to prove all of this stuff, pay all these legal fees, get a good lawyer, when all that money could be going to take the kid to a basketball game to spend time with the kids. I feel like that's just, it's a horrible circle of stuff. And I don't know what it feels like to grow up without a mom and a dad. My parents were together till death did them part. So when my kid's dad and I broke up, I did not know what my kids were feeling. I did not know how they felt about it. And luckily, I'm very open. So my kids, I talked to them about it. I was like, tell mommy, because I don't know. And, we were able to grow from there, but they had bad feelings towards their dad for a long time. They're just now getting a relationship with their dad, and they're 27 and 30.
Wow.
Yeah, I think when you talk about disadvantages of children being married, and I can only kind of throw this from a male perspective and my personal perspective, that's the disadvantage, the time that you spend. That's what you lose. That's the regrets. That's what that's led into. So, I mean, the financial part is part of it, I guess. It's just look, the way I look at it is you know, you get married, you have children, you just got to take care of them. You know, Kerry's right with, if you're going to do that, you might start off and go through the attorney general, because end of the day, that's what's going to count. Once you get divorced and you're doing it right, you got to make sure that's right. But the biggest disadvantage is you just lose precious moments in time with your kids, you know, and you always feel like an outsider. You know what I'm saying? That's the disadvantage of being, you know, not being around your kids, and you lose that when you're not married to them.
Being like a weekend daddy for the most part.
Right.
Pretty much.
And you know what is crazy to me too is that they criminalize not paying child support. When I went to court, the judge was like, well, we can put him in jail. I said, what good is that going to do me?
Yeah.
If he's in jail, he still ain't going to be paying.
Right.
Let him stay out and just go get that money, because that's what I needed, you know?
Yeah.
But they criminalize it. There's people in jail for not paying child support.
A lot of brothers, yeah.
There's a reason for that. The fact that they criminalized it. There's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to the industrial prison situation.
Yes.
There's a reason, because you got to remember, when you look at the stats that they say what demographic of people are most likely to come from single family homes.
That's right.
So when they made it a crime,
Yeah.
who were they targeting? Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let me break it down to you like this. Like for me, your point, right, and your point, really. I mean, you could pay child support and never see the kid. I mean, money is important. Don't get it twisted. I mean, when I came up in New York, I had a mom and a dad. So I was in a household. Mom and dad were together. We had money. I mean, we had a nice life. Everything. Moved to San Antonio. My mom and dad got separated. A single parent home. We poor. We ain't got nothing.
Yeah, see, I don't know that.
You know, and my dad, I didn't hear nothing from him. It's just like, I hear from you at graduation when you do something good.
Birthdays.
You know, stuff like that. That's the only time I heard from him. So at the end of the day, there's definitely disadvantages of not having the money in the home, because money, we know that money is what makes this whole country move.
Oh yeah.
Right. It gives you capabilities to do things and things like that. But at the same time, emotionally, you know, just having that love from your parent, that's from your dad, like you said, from both, it's important. And if we don't have that, that could have negative impacts on the child. Like, in whether it's because of the fact that they don't have money in the house, or it's because they don't have their father there. It's emotionally impacting. And we have to remember that, once again, I'm kind of like focused in my mind on what is this doing to these children.
Well, we need that balance in the home. Okay, whether you guys are married or not, that balance needs to be in the home.
Right.
That father, that, you know what I'm saying, that man, that mother, that woman, the balance. Look, when my daughters were younger, I used to take them to the father-daughter dance in elementary school. I can't tell you how many little girls didn't have any daddies there. Okay, or it had to be like an older brother, a cousin. Or
grandpa.
Right.
And what it does is, these little girls, they sit on the sideline and they watch the joy in these girls with their father. You know how you put your little daughter on your little shoes, you move around, and they just looking at her like mad, jealous, all of that hurt. Like, I don't have that. Yeah, because that uncle took them to the dance, but that uncle isn't there, you know, on a day-to-day basis, like the father is. So, and even with boys, same thing. A little boy might be playing football or baseball, soccer, whatever it is, and the dad's in the stands cheering his son on, and the other little kid playing like, my mama's always here, but my dad is never here. I want, and it's that validation that they always seek. You know, even if you take it back to, God, I forgot who, it was a particular celebrity where all his life he sought for his father's validation, all his life, until he was, you know, a much older man in his 50s, and he was still seeking his father's validation. I can't remember who the heck it was, but but that's, for a lot of guys, it sticks with them literally their entire life.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's important, because you don't know how it's going to impact one child. Like for me, I had the same thing. Like, my dad was never there once we moved to San Antonio. I don't think, and I'm not a psychologist and nothing like that, but I don't think it impacted me in a negative way. Where somebody else, like that other guy, his whole life, that was impacting him, and he knew it, right? Maybe it's subconsciously that something going on in my mind that I don't know, you know what I'm saying, that I'm not aware of. But at the end of the day, it's going to impact each child differently. And you don't know how your absence from that child's life is going to impact your child.
It's true.
Yeah. So the only other thing I wanted to kind of touch base on it was like, and this is once again, I'm looking at it I'm looking outward from my own experience. Like violence, like ended up being in an environment where there's more violence and there's more crime because you're in a single parent home, because you don't have, like, if you got two incomes, you probably got a capability to move somewhere nice or to be in a neighborhood where there's not crime, you know, regardless of how nice the house is or the neighborhood. Like maybe there's no crime, so you move there, right?
Yes.
But people in single family homes, they have less money. It is likely statistically that they could end up in a more violent environment, right? And that impacts kids.
Or feel like they have to rob and steal to survive because they don't have enough food at home. They don't have clothes. They got to share shoes with a brother. There are so many people in prison for survival crimes.
Yes, that is a great point, because it is true. There are individuals who do things based on two things, like their need, like they need to eat. I need some food and I ain't got no money. Right. Yeah, you can go get a job, but then you got to wait. Your first check comes in 3 weeks when you get a new job, right?
Exactly.
So you need to eat today. You need to eat today.
Teenagers who can't work that are stealing ho-hos and donuts or whatever because they hungry.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be
to your point like too about like a few weeks back, you talked about how like, hey, we do things to the people in our own community, or we act, or we assimilate to our community of people. So now you're in a community where there might be more crime or violence. Maybe you see it. You see that pimp on the corner. You see the drug dealer with the nice car.
That fast money.
Yeah, the kids might start to want to get that fast money. The parent might even say, this is my only route to, you know, being successful in my current situation, right? I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying it happens.
There's a lot of single moms out there that sell weed, man. The real talk, you know.
That's true. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, to make incomes meet, man. Real talk. So, yeah, I mean, you know, that broken home, and you know, and it's funny as we sit around this table, a lot of us in one way, shape, or form have that effect. You know what I'm saying? Have that, you know, I could go from my own upbringing, you know what I'm saying? I can go with when I got married and when I got divorced. It's a lot down there, but it's that cycle of Black people understanding how they need to learn how to love each other better and really build the family unit. I mean, and that's basically where it is, and understand how important it is. I think that over generations, you know, we've talked down the importance of marriage.
Yeah,
to the point where like a lot of females, if you talk to them, they'll say, hey, well, you know, I can get it on my own and independent. Well, we all can do that. That's what adults do. But why?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The whole idea of being married is to build the family unit. The reason to build a family unit is to build community.
Yes.
And the Black community, that's the biggest problem. We don't know how to build and keep that family units together.
And to your point, why even have kids if that's not what you're trying to do?
Exactly.
Why even have them then? I'm just
exactly.
And have them in a timely manner. Have them when you got your college degree.
Right.
Yeah, when you're ready.
And you're buying a house, and now okay, we're ready to have kids. A lot of us have children, including one standing here, when you ain't ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not ready financially to do it or in a position to even have a plan. You kind of just have them because, you know, hey, at the time you feel a certain way about somebody and you think it's time. So,
well, it's not just the financial aspect, but also emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world, but you don't have what it takes to nurture that child.
Yeah.
You don't have the patience. You're too selfish, right? And a lot of people are having kids and they just don't want to be burdened with the kids or saddled with the burden. And my thing is, then why do you have them?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it goes back to what you said. If you're building something, like even with a man, if you're building your legacy, if you want a legacy, right? You want that bloodline. Okay. Make sure you select the right woman that you don't mind having your last name and that you don't mind carrying your seeds. Vet that woman properly.
Yeah. Hey, we got a few comments on here. Pastor V in the house said, what's good, fam? I see you, Kerry. Kerry Kzaggin.
What up,
okay.
bro?
We got Joyce. She says, he is exactly correct. She's talking about Kerry. Years ago, some states will recognize support in kind where you could come with receipts and they would take it into consideration. Now it's all deemed as a gift. She says the system, is designed to keep fathers out of children's lives. To be on Section 8, a man can't live there. So to be on assistance, the man can't be present. It's systemic. Definitely. That's a great
Yep.
point. Like,
That's
hey, I
absolutely
don't want you.
true.
You want help? It's the same thing that happened in that situation. I said that we ain't gonna give this person child support or public assistance unless we get paternity test on every man you was with.
Exactly.
And you know, in Texas, if the woman is on public assistance and then you're found to be the father and you have to pay back child support, you got to pay the state back all that money too.
Yeah, they were like, the man can't live
and
with
that's
you.
when he said it's a business.
It is
It's
a business. Man can't live with you. Get out. You got women sneaking men in their house. Because that's what they do.
Yeah, we know that.
I mean, they sneaking men in their house. They
absolutely.
staying the night and staying for it. They got well, I think I might have an inspection this month. You got to get your stuff out the closet. Get your stuff off the bathroom sink. You can't have,
you got dudes living out a hefty bag.
I was just saying. I done had a couple of hey, man, let me stay at your house, man. For only 2 days, man. We can get through this inspection, bro.
Really?
I had that, man. Let me go ahead and hit the. I ain't gonna say no names, but let me hit that couch.
It's true.
And you're right. They got the hefty bag, man. Don't worry, man. Just put my stuff in the garage.
This is real. It's real. It's systemic. They're trying to keep us separated. Another comment. Walanda, she says financial constraints could be, financial constraints could affect access to resources and opportunities. However, it's important to note that outcomes vary widely and can be influenced by factors like the quality of parenting, support systems, and the child's own resilience.
That's right. She couldn't have said that better.
Look, you ain't got no stats though.
She on the live stream throwing these big words out like.
Hey, you know what? But everything she's saying is 100% true, man. It's not just a simple fix.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure is.
All right. So appreciate you guys leaving those comments on there, man. So, a lot of moving parts to that. A lot of things that we need to do to kind of. I think that we're doing to create a perception sometimes that the state or whoever is trying to help these families, and I think they're doing some things. I'm not going to say like everything is bad, but they could be doing better, man. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, Trump could be doing better. So he's trying to create a perception right now. My man,
nice segue.
My man is mean mugging. He's out there with mugshots looking like he about to fight. I don't think he can fight personally. No. I may be wrong, but there was breaking news.
Can't fight. he fight with his money and lawyers.
Yeah, that's about it. That's how far the fight goes, man. There's news, man. On the 24th, Trump and all the rest of his co-defendants all turned themselves in by Thursday, right? So they turned themselves in, Fulton County Jail, good to go. Trump showed up, and he was just like, whatever face he made, right? There's a little mean face, like he mad, like he about to do something. You know what I'm saying? Mean mugging, looking crazy. But mean mugging does not make the evidence any less credible. Sorry, you can mean mug all you want to. You got a lot of stuff stacked against you, bro. And you got 18 potential flippers. Okay. So at the end of the day, man, it's all politically motivated. His whole mean mugging and people are also saying that the charges are politically motivated. So I'm gonna ask you, Ace, man, what are your thoughts on this recent indictment and all of this stuff going on right now, man? I know I'm hitting you with a very wide topic, man. But
we can't get away from Trump, man. We tried to, man. It's funny, man. On my way over here, I was riding, and just in my head, it just popped up. I was riding. I said, a lot of his supporters, because when I come over to your house, just kind of let you know how the journey is. I'm leaving the city. Sean lives
in the sticks somewhere.
Well, it gets a little rural, the way that I come. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so just because I knew what we were going to talk about today, I was thinking, and I said, what's funny? A lot of Trump supporters are rural. They're people who live in rural, hardworking people, ranch owners. And they support this guy. And this dude's a city guy. He's a New Yorker. He doesn't fit into their world. You know,
their values are different.
Yeah. But and of course you talk about the mean mugging picture, and I think that's all him just putting on a show of let me look defiant and like I'm fighting against the system. But you're not fighting against the system. Yep. Think about it. This dude came, he flew in, he got to fly in. Think about what happened. They got a warrant for his arrest. He had the capability of flying in on this jet from Jersey, landing 15 minutes in and out, and he was back on the plane and back in Jersey within a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, Who does that? I done got traffic tickets and was down there 4-5 hours.
Traffic
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, have you watched that show? I can't remember what it is. It's on A&E, and it
First
shows
48,
people.
a jail? Which
Nah,
one?
the ones where they getting booked.
Jail.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
where it's just like everybody comes in, like they'll have drunk people that got booked for the
Yeah.
day or whatever. They there for 8, 5, 10
Yeah.
hours, bro.
Never.
And then they let them go. Like their whole booking process is ridiculous. I went one time. I had a warrant for a speeding ticket. I was in there for like 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, he got to turn in his own stats. Like, here, this is who I am. I mean, they didn't measure him. They didn't weigh him.
You know they're supposed to do a cavity search.
Exactly.
They did not do it. None of that stuff.
Exactly. And they said the stats he got was Muhammad Ali in his prime. 6'3", 215.
No,
Like,
he
you know
about
what I'm saying?
330.
I say 215.
Where?
Huh?
They put him at 215?
215.
That's what he turned in as his.
Trump,
as
I'm
his
5'9".
weight.
I'm 218. So come on, dog. Let's be real. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous on the spin that's being done around
Mm.
this whole situation, man. Come on, 2-tier justice system. Come on.
Hey, your girl Joy said, did y'all see the parade when he turned himself
Oh
in?
yeah, had 40 policemen on bicycles. I mean, on motorcycles. You know what I'm saying? Like, who does that? No, the president don't even get that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, he's the former president, so they still look at him, you know, in that.
Nobody trying to come get Trump.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, yeah, we know that. Yeah, but here's, I think the irony of it, I think about the Central Park 5.
Yeah.
When they had to take mug shots and they didn't do it, so now he's taking a mug shot. But we all know that it's really a stunt. You know, like you
Yes.
said, when I went for speeding tickets, it was 12 hours. I'm like, they got me in here for this long?
It's a long
Yeah.
time.
I had to put on an
Speeding
orange
ticket.
jumpsuit and everything. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, for this?
Bro,
Oh,
I
yeah.
went to the cell, like the group cell,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
where everybody like, I'm about to go to
sleep.
sleep for the night.
Yes.
I was like, y'all sent me all the way up here, and then girl who got me out, she's like, I've been waiting for 4 hours. I was like, why didn't you even send me there?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
interrupting
No,
your point,
I
man.
know. I feel you. No,
Yeah.
but it's all nonsense. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll do a day in jail.
Nah, he ain't gonna do it.
What it really is they just don't want him to run for president again. They want to ruin his candidacy. You know what I'm saying? Candidacy situation. I think that's all it really is.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if that's what they're trying to do, they failing.
They
Yeah.
Big time.
Because if he don't go to jail, even if he does go to jail, he can still basically
Yes,
be
yes,
president. There's an argument about the Constitution and that, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they failing at that big time. He winning like 40, 30 points in the polls.
Well, that's on the primary side. I mean, that's all that's the
Man,
Republican. That's the Republican.
I don't
Party.
trust none of this stuff until the votes is
Yeah,
over.
no. I mean, and
The
let me break it down
electoral
to you.
vote at that.
That's the primaries. He's 30 points ahead of DeSantis. He's winning the Republican Party without a problem. He didn't have to go to debates. Have to do
Mhm.
none of that.
Nope.
Now, once again, this election is going to come down to the independent voter. You just hope some of these independent voters ain't silly enough to think, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and flip over here and vote for this guy. Here's the deal. End of the day, end of story. Dude has no policy on anything. He ain't coming out and saying, hey, man, I'm going to make your life better and do this, that, and the other.
Nope.
He
He's
might.
not.
He just ain't.
Well,
he
no,
ain't
he ain't never
saying
said
it.
You can
Right.
name one thing from his former presidency that he left.
He's not
as a
saying
legacy.
any. All he's
He ain't
focusing on
said
is
nothing.
how I'm here to protect you
He-
because I'm
And the
fighting all these
immigrants.
He
cases.
has no policy, bro. He's never had any policy.
If he has a policy, he just
Getting
ain't
the
sharing it. I
immigrants
don't know.
out.
He had a secret policy? No, bro. He
He
ain't got
might.
no policy, dog. He don't.
He might.
never had one.
I can't.
All right, so you can name every president. If we go back from Bush to Obama to whatever, you can name a president that left something in their legacy, and that's what they were talking about the whole time in office. Can't do that for Trump.
He had a partial wall. That's all I can say.
And he
And
didn't.
But
keeping
it's
the
something.
immigrants
It's
out.
immigrants.
No, that was
Yeah,
even
keep
it. Huh?
Keeping the immigrants
That's
out.
the one thing he can say. He got a partial wall put up
Did
to,
that
to
happen?
stop
Did
the
he fix
immigrants.
immigration?
I'm not saying he
No.
fixed
That's
it,
what
but
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying
I'm
that's,
saying, but every
that's what he
president-
can point to.
Every president left a legacy. If you think about him, that's who they are.
What did Obama ain't fix nothing. No, you're talking about
Obamacare,
fixing
bro.
versus doing something.
Obamacare.
Did that fix anything?
Yeah,
though?
it did.
Yes,
If
it
it
gave a
did.
lot of people medical
lot of people
insurance.
got health
that
insurance
didn't
that
but
they
have-
don't have.
But not everyone.
Bush left.
It doesn't
Leave
help
no
everything
child
for everyone.
behind. That helped
Yeah.
education.
When you say fix, it fixes things for everything and everyone.
Well,
But we're
no, I'm
still
just
having a
saying,
conversation
there's a-
about healthcare today.
But exactly, but we were having
Nothing
the conversation on it. That wasn't.
We weren't even talking
doing that.
about it then.
But we
We're
are
have
still.
everything
So
in place
how,
now.
why would you talk about fixing something that's already fixed? If Obamacare fixed it, will we still be talking about healthcare? Will we still be talking about the
It
price
wasn't
of
so much that he
prescriptions and all of that
fixed it.
stuff?
He
That's my
didn't
point.
fix it, but he
No
had a
president
legacy.
fixed anything. That's different. I agree with that. And Trump has a legacy too, putting up partial wall. immigration. I agree with that. What he's saying is fix. Like, ain't nobody fixed anything. They don't want to fix anything.
No.
Politicians don't want to fix things because when they fix things, they have nothing to talk about. They have nothing to do.
They want to give the illusion
Yes.
that they fix something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a very illusion. There's a partial wall that ain't ever been fixed, and there's an illusion that he didn't do shit for immigration but mess it up. You know what I'm saying? So now he does have a legacy with January the 6th. That is
Okay,
his
there
legacy
you
right
go.
there.
The insurrection.
He got that too.
No, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But what I mean is, and you know, my correction, he didn't fix it, but he improved healthcare through
Okay,
Obamacare.
that's different.
All right. Okay.
And
better
look,
choice
even
of words.
let me put it to you like this, and I'm being very critical here, but even a 100-foot wall is an improvement over 0-foot wall to him and his supporters. So when you say he didn't leave a legacy, there's people that's gonna argue you that all day. We just can't say that definitively he didn't do anything. There's things that he did. Now you may not like him or care about him because I sure as fuck don't. But at the end of the day, there are people that are gonna say, well, that wall meant something to them. He tried. He did something.
Well, I mean,
You
and
know
I'm
what
not
I'm
going to say he didn't do anything, but I am going to say that he didn't do anything pretty much for the common man or his voter that he's talking about. He did stuff for big business. He cut a whole bunch of taxes and pulled back a whole bunch of regulations.
That was my next point that I was going to say. Like, he did a lot
Yeah.
for like big business, and they will love him for that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But the immigrant thing that he did, he actually negatively impacted the rural people who are voting for him because there ain't nobody to man their farms.
I got a comment here from Walanda. It says politics ideally should not play a role in bringing criminal charges. The legal system should operate independently based on evidence and the law rather than being influenced by political considerations. However, in some cases, there have been instances where politics might indirectly impact the decision-making process or public perception of criminal charges. Trump signifies where perception is people's reality. His followers truly believe he is being wronged regardless of all the evidence. Yeah.
He's right. She's absolutely right.
Well, unfortunately, politics, it does bleed in to criminal cases all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Unfortunately, like federal judges, like, well, not federal, like some judges are like, you have to vote for putting judges in their seats.
Or they get appointed.
Yeah, or they get appointed by a certain political party or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's his legacy too.
Yeah, well, all them
taking down Roe versus Wade.
See,
Yeah.
that's political based right there.
That is definitely his legacy right there. That's he will claim that forever, even though he did nothing about it. He was not a part of it. Now he
don't
put
even
the
believe
people
in it.
He put the people right. He put the people in place that made the decision. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, but he gonna claim it.
Oh yeah.
You know, you don't even believe that, man. But yeah, it's just, you know, it's a crazy mess where this country's at. And you know, looking at the debates that also happened this week, it's like, man, this is where we're at right now. That clown show, you know what I'm saying? That was going on. Like
them debates was just Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah,
like
this dude. Like, come on, bro. Like where? I mean, it's like. And the thing about it, man, I've been looking at the politics for a long time, and don't get me wrong, I haven't always agreed with all the candidates.
Yes.
But you had some certain level of respect for them and thinking that they were looking out for the best of the country, man. Now you just got all kinds of people out here, man, just going for their own, you know, personal agendas or whatever the case.
Two things I want to touch on with the debate. First of all, Vivek Ramaswamy, like, who's going to support Trump if he gets the nomination? That brother was the first one to put his hand up,
and
smiling.
he's gonna pardon him too.
And he gonna pardon him if he becomes president. So he either trying to be president or vice president, one or the other. I don't know which one. But then the crazy thing is, I watched the interview with that dude who made that song. I don't know if y'all know that song, The Rich Man Up in Richmond.
Yeah.
So during the debate, they kind of showed that song, showed the guy singing it, and then they were like, well, what do you have to say? This is how America feels now about, you know, the people in Washington and blah, 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 blah. They interviewed him. He said, I don't know why they played my song during that debate.
Wow.
He said, the song is about the people who were on that stage.
Yeah.
He said,
so they missed it.
Yeah. He said, it's about them.
Wow.
He said, I don't even, he said, they missed the whole point. And all you hear him talk about bureaucrats and the deep state. That's who you are, fool.
Yeah.
You part of that. You make the decisions. Nobody, you go into these rooms with these people, they give you money, they tell you what they want you to do, and they influence you to make the decisions. But now there's a deep state out there that doing something besides you. Damn. How high up does this stuff go?
Yeah, no, man, that's just nuts. And then believe it or not, man, I can't remember her name right now, but the best one, the senator, man, the lady, she was the only lady up there, but the senator, she was the best one out of all of them.
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley. God, I couldn't think of her name.
She was good.
I mean, and she was the only one like talking a little bit about policy and kind of making some sense out of a lot of things. But even with her, when they asked her, would you support Trump, she put her hand up.
Yeah, she did.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Well, weren't they all Republicans?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, but
there were a few that said that
they're
Asa
running
Hutchinson,
against them though.
Yeah,
right? And
that's
Asa
why I'm,
Hutchinson,
like, confused.
Asa Hutchinson, and
Yeah.
Chris Christie did not put their hands up. They said they would not support him.
They're running against them, but they so scared of the base that they still say they're going to support Trump. Why? When we have to support this undying loyalty to one person, to one man. That sounds
He
like
set
Nazi
that
Germany to me.
He set that precedent.
That's what
Mhm.
I'm saying.
Well, it sounds
That
like-
He
sounds like
came
Nazi
in
Germany.
and
Like a
became
dictatorship.
president with
Yeah.
no political background. He has a business education. He knows nothing about history. He didn't know nothing about laws. He didn't know nothing. And this fool was president for 4 years.
But what
Yeah.
does that say? It speaks to our society
Absolutely.
and the intelligence or lack thereof.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing he's good at is filing for bankruptcy and getting out of owing folks money. Maybe that's why they voted him in. Get the
And your
deficit
man Vivek or whatever
erased.
his name, he's coming from that same principle. I'm a businessman, I'm 38, you
Mhm.
know, and I'm going to just get up here and act the part, pretty much, you know. But yeah, he's you know, it's crazy, man. That debate was all over the place. And even Mike Pence told him when he's talking about pardon, he says, you know, the pardon don't work like that. The first thing that when you get a pardon, you got to admit that you was wrong and admit your crime. You know what I'm saying? So you're never gonna be a pardon.
You have to
somebody until they were
show
wrong.
what are they called?
Mm.
Not remorse, but you have to show like remorse in a way. I can't remember what the term is exactly, but you don't have to admit you did anything wrong. You do have to show that you are sorry, basically. For
Contrite.
Contrite.
You have to show contrition. That's it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I admit that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
That does not mean that. All you have to do is show contrition, and then you can get off. But I do have a few comments real quick. Facebook. I was going back a few topics here. The first one is going back to the jail situation where Joyce said that she worked at a jail as a new nurse, and the booking process is lengthy to say the least. The foolery they are pulling with Trump is publicity. His supporters are amping it up, and they're amping up the front runner again. So, like you said, they're gonna have T-shirts
Oh yeah.
with
Oh,
the
already got
Trump
it.
mugshot. They
Look,
probably
we should
already
do
got
Yeah,
them.
as soon as it came out.
Exactly.
Yeah, the print waiting right there. They just,
They're talking a
Okay.
little bit about like what the different people did. Wanda said that he hasn't said a word on policy, just like you said. He cut taxes for the rich, just like you said, Kerry. Health insurance, Obamacare for Obama. Joyce said Obama's claim to fame was allowing pre-existing issues in Obamacare.
Mhm.
Let's see. Then we got Steve. What's up, Steve? Steve said what Trump had was a whole bunch of deregulation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is definitely going to end up with a whole bunch of situations where we're in trouble. I'm going to skip down here. Wanda said Nikki Haley. She gave us some claps on here. And then Steve said Nikki Haley was the UN ambassador during Trump's presidency. So I'm not surprised that she would support him.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. But at the same time, I mean, the question was, would you support him if he's like, I think they said if he's found guilty and he gets the nomination or something like that. Was that it?
Yeah. I mean, they're running against this guy, and that was it that they were asking, but they're running against this guy, and only a few of them, you know, actually, I think it was Asa and Christie that actually challenged them. You know, everybody else was like, they're basically running for second place, hopefully. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they're hoping. You know, maybe I can get a place on the cabinet or whatever. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's ridiculous that, you know,
Your
like,
girl
he
Letitia
didn't
had a
show
comment
up.
on here.
Who, Lynn?
Letitia
Mhm.
Davis Johnson.
Yeah, that's Lynn.
She says Trump's education is questionable. So that's to you, Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a mess, man. I mean, and you know, and it's a show that's still going on to this day, man. I think Monday, Mark Meadows actually has to show up to court because he's trying to get everything moved federally, and then Cheese
That already got turned down.
did it.
Yep, he got turned down. Mark Meadows will not go to federal court. He now he turned himself in, and he has to be part of the Georgia state deal too. Now, I think what will happen with him is probably what everyone thinks is happening with the federal case, is that he'll probably flip, just like everybody thinks he flipped on the federal one. So we'll see.
Yeah. And then Kenneth Cheeseborough got a speedy trial coming up in October, thinking that the Georgia DA wasn't.
Does that mean that the whole trial has to move up? Because
no, just him.
Okay.
Yeah. And but they're trying to catch her off guard, like she wasn't ready.
Right.
I think they're wrong. I think Sister Girl's ready.
Oh, I know she's ready.
on it.
It's been like you said, the point that Trump's in there, well, it could have been done this to me years ago. Because we get our ducks in a row, bro. We don't do stuff like you. We get our I's dotted and T's crossed. We make sure that if we're going to come at the president of the United States,
shoot for the
and that's the point. You must have your shit in order. Nobody's going to come at him knowing all of the backlash, the hate. He's got millions of supporters. Why would you come at that half-ass?
And he unleashes them on people, and that's just crazy. Like he unleashes them on people on purpose. So, yeah, man.
Did you also hear another good point was that one of the people who was accused of being a fake elector, she said, well, she tried to make a claim that she only did it because her commander-in-chief told her to do it. Right? So now with publicly saying that and putting that in front of the court, that right there is evidence against you. You're saying right now that I did it because he told me to. So now what you going to do? Flip? Or I think that she's probably going to flip too, because now you pretty much put it out there that, yeah, I did it. And here's why. Well, that don't make you not guilty, right? You still have a choice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know? So
what about blacks for Trump?
like I said, man.
Blacks for Trump, baby.
You know, here's what that'll get you: jail time.
There you go. Ain't there one brother who's still sitting in jail, can't post bond?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Couldn't make his $10,000, $100,000 down to 10. Couldn't make it.
He the only one had no money. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude,
if you're gonna be a supporter, at least you gotta, hey man, what's up?
Dude, yeah.
Trump ain't giving out none of that money.
No, of course not.
You could you imagine the conversations he's having with brothers up in there right now? What you in here for?
What you in for?
And then his face all up on the
Yeah,
damn.
they watching TV in the day.
He's gonna see if he gonna lie. Yeah, what you in here for?
They better have him in protective custody.
Come on, brother. Blacks for Trump, dog. Yeah,
I don't understand this.
Whoa.
He just let you just blacks for Trump. Boom, wearing the t-shirt and everything. And then Tootie or whatever her name is, she's up there just smiling like the Grinch. You know, I think her last name is Tootie or something like that. It is the last name.
Oh my God.
Kanye was hiding that girl one time in her life. I know he ain't feeling good about that.
Nah, he ain't proud of that at
all.
all.
That was public.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Her mugshot is amazing.
it's stupid.
I know.
I'm like, she didn't do a hair before she went to bed. Nothing.
Looking crazy.
She knew she was going in for that.
Yeah, she knew she was going to be a photo as part of this procedure.
But
it's part of the publicity too.
She
supposed to get her hair did.
She didn't want to look cute for the chicks. You know what I'm
saying? She about to be locked
up. Yeah.
But she made bail though. She.
My bad, I didn't know.
I don't even know. I'm just guessing.
Hey, y'all seen that 60 Days In?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all see the one I'm talking about? That black girl, she fell in love in jail and shit.
It's crazy. They have on TV nowadays, but yeah.
We about to see the two-tier justice system at work with these two black people and shit. Like we about to see the difference in the two-tier justice. We already seeing it.
That's
you
a
in
good
jail,
point.
Fool.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's already started.
Trump, 20 minutes, dog. You still there right now.
Yeah.
And they said Fulton County is horrible.
Oh yeah. He got the cavity search.
Yeah.
They didn't bypass that for him.
They made him bend over and cough a couple times.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He eating that what's that shit, corned beef or whatever the hell they serve down there. Oatmeal pies. They can say oatmeal pies.
Oatmeal pies. Like commissary.
That don't even sound good.
It's good with that shit. When you in jail, the motherfucker is top notch.
I don't know.
Somebody getting that collect call right now, man. Collect call from,
Denied.
Somebody using that commissary machine right now.
I ain't got 10 grand, baby. I ain't got 10 grand. You good.
I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm gonna be spending the night.
Some of your books.
Yeah.
I'll be in there for a few weeks.
Put some on your commissary.
I call Trump, dog. Trump put some on his books and shit.
He better. Like you said, I'm flipping.
Okay. He should
Hey
be
man, I
up
can't
there
come with that 10 grand, man. But I put some on your
Yeah,
books.
I'll put
singing.
you know, you're gonna get Doritos once a week at least, man. I'll hook you up with that.
I mean,
Corn nuts or something.
Said
Oh,
corn-
yeah.
said
like-
corn nuts.
like who rolling with him and like he ain't paid Giuliani, he ain't paid nobody. Like when he makes that phone call, like
Okay, so I
why you
heard
thinking
that
like
he's starting a fund for somebody. Is it Giuliani or somebody
That
else?
super PAC,
I don't
man.
know. Yeah.
I'm just saying, but who's like rolling with him and like ain't seeing the news and like, man, he don't pay nobody. Like, why would you even do dirt with him, man? Dude,
Yeah.
nothing.
You don't got your back. That's for real. He do
gotta
not got your
he
back.
gotta be upfront. Like, dog, I need mine up front.
He'll go up on stage and clap you up all day long. But when it comes to like doing like something instead of saying something, he ain't got your back at all. He never will. He'll never give you money. He'll never give you like that support. He gave a lawyer. I will tell you what, he did it for the one dude, the valet that became the head of his custodial people. That dude, the one that moved the boxes and told the dude to cut off the camera. He hooked him up. I'll give him that.
Well, he was in the house. He saw the documents, so he better
Oh
hook
yeah,
him up.
and that document thing is that's really serious
Mhm.
on that. But here's the deal. Here's the sad part about Tootie Harrison, the black people that are involved in the 18 co-defendants. They sent them to go convince Ruby Freeman to lie, another black person.
They
What does
use
that
black.
tell you about
they
what
use-
they think
what
about
they
black
think
people?
about it.
exactly.
They sent your
That's-
blackface over there to get Ruby Freeman to do something that was totally illegal.
Mhm.
And now you sitting in jail now because of that.
Yeah.
Now that's two stories. Like that means
Two
people.
Dumbass.
all skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
No,
Okay.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
not at all. Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? And
Agree with
two,
that, yeah.
why you out there doing the white man's dirty work, bruh?
It's
They're
beyond.
gonna
me, fam.
send
I
you
don't-
to do something. They have her do something that's totally illegal.
And
Yeah.
you be the
Because they
one.
want her to take the
Yeah.
blame and say that she did something illegal during the election, and that's why it was rigged. They wanted her to be the fall guy, and they're gonna
Mhm.
take care of it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
tried to get them to convince them, and you went over there with that nonsense.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
they're definitely gonna be the patsy when it's all said and done. They're gonna be like, see, these are the people that basically tarnished him and were doing things for him, and he never asked them to do it. It's gonna be that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, my mama said the best when it comes down to Ruby Freeman. She said Ruby Freeman is an older black woman. What made them kids think they was gonna go over there to her and convince her to do something?
Yeah,
stupid?
come on
That's
now.
she said she
Y'all
a
came at the
grown
wrong
woman,
motherfucker.
old lady. That's like going to your grandmama with some bullshit. You
Yeah,
can't do
like,
it.
No,
Yeah.
not Big
Grandma's
Mom.
like
No,
getting
She
down
she
with that.
call you on it before it even come.
Big
Yeah.
Mom here,
What you
man.
want me to do?
Yeah.
No, baby, go.
Nah, baby.
No, baby,
Go
go.
ahead with that foolishness.
Go with that
foolishness. Yeah.
And that's basically how Ruby Freeman probably came to with him. Like, nah, baby.
Yeah.
I don't-
Come on now.
Who? What? What do I got to do?
Yeah,
Oh,
nah, that ain't happening.
Then they tried to intimidate her in the police station. Now I don't know how the hell two black people got in the police station and intimidate. Like they just let them
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Wow.
Come on now.
Come on, man.
It's crazy. But I mean, it's crazy the things that are going on right now, man, in our country. And I will tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there supporting this activity, man. And the last video that we did, we talked about, you know, just having integrity, you know, and some people, for whatever reason, they feel like their integrity is intact by following this man after all the things that he does and all the charges, all the evidence that's stacking up against him. At some point, you have to just come to reality and be like, look, he did something wrong. I mean, I don't know.
We were talking earlier before we came online, before they showed up. We were talking about standards.
Yep.
A lot of people have flexible standards. That's a problem.
Yes, it
You know what I'm
is.
saying? You should have standards that don't bend, that
Exactly.
aren't flexible. But a lot of people, they think they have standards, but in some cases, they just have a preference.
Mhm.
A preference for self-survival, a preference to do this or do that, as long as they win, or as long as there's a favorable outcome to what they decide.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't have no standards, which is why they would put themselves in that predicament.
That's a great point, man.
Very
And
good.
you don't have standards. You, like you said, you have preferences. That's what that is. Like you have, if it fits my agenda, I'm cool with it. But you
Exactly.
can't call that a standard
It's
because
not a standard.
it's not one at that point. Either you have integrity and the
Yes.
truth is the truth and a lie is a lie, or it's not.
Exactly.
It's a standard, man. And like we said, the standards versus goals versus, you know, just perception, whatever the case may be. A lot of people don't have standards. They say they do, but the question that Adrian Ace asked a while ago,
Mhm.
if Hillary did all these things
Right.
that Trump is being accused of doing, what would you say if you were a Trump supporter right now?
Yeah.
Right? There's no way. There is no way that a Trump supporter, if Hillary did all of these things, they would be screaming bloody murder for her to go to jail. That if you like we said, but if Hillary did that, if Hillary was accused of all these things, I would say she should go to jail because I have standards.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Trump or Hillary or Obama. Anybody
right.
who does all of these things,
Needs to go to
if
jail.
they did them,
Yeah.
should be in jail. I have a standard. I don't have a preference.
So you
but-
pick and choose.
Yeah. And the other point that I brought up too, man, I don't know if I thought about this earlier, was people who support Trump always bring up old stuff that's already been looked at. Like
Right. They like
Benghazi,
to blame.
email.
They like-
I'm like, okay.
The Hillary email stuff.
So
They
yeah,
like to-
I'm like,
well,
look
what
at the-
about what
look
she
at the-
did?
what about
We're
the
not talking
emails?
about- We're not
But-
talking about.
But check this out though. That's been
Hillary. We're talking about
investigated.
Trump. Right.
And it's been closed. When was the last time you heard somebody who doesn't like Trump say, what about the Mueller investigation?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that. You know why? It's over.
Yeah.
They investigated it. They say he didn't do anything wrong with Russia. We don't keep throwing that back
Yeah,
in people's
exactly.
faces
Right.
because it's over.
Over.
It was
Yeah.
investigated. That's standards. That those are having standards. I have standards that look.
Yes.
The government looked at it. The legal. They said it's over. Trump didn't do anything wrong. I'm gonna leave that alone. I
Right.
never talk about that, but they always talking about emails that's already been investigated and over with.
That's called
Why?
deflecting.
Yeah.
They're deflecting
Yeah,
from what Trump
But
is
I can
doing.
deflect back to the Mueller thing, but I don't because
Right.
Yeah.
I have
Have a
standards.
standards, that's
I'm like, that's over with.
Yeah.
We already found him to be okay with that.
Yeah. Michael Flynn went to prison for that though.
Yeah,
I know that.
but he was wrong. I
Yeah,
mean, they
right,
found
right.
reason to do it, and
Yeah.
and that's if we want to bring that up, we can bring that up. But I'm not gonna go bring up stuff that's already like Hunter Biden. That stuff that Hunter Biden he gonna be found guilty of.
Probably
they're still
don't
going
like
through that.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff that they said he didn't do anything wrong. They still talk about it.
Yeah.
Leave that shit alone. It's already been looked
But
at.
Hunter
Yeah.
It's
Biden is a
over.
grown man. He ain't. His daddy can't control him.
Not at all. But I mean, at the end of the day, my whole point is like, we can't have our preference and just say it's wrong just if it's something that we don't like.
Right.
If it's a person that we don't like, or something that otherwise, you know, our whole country, man, it's in trouble anyway. So
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what kills me about the whole Trump thing. Like, and you know, you have your investigations, but everything that he's doing, we got this fool some way, somehow on got this voice, his video. He's talking about it. He's saying he's doing it. The document stuff.
they don't believe it still.
Yeah. They got him on video talking about it. January 6th, they got him saying go march down to the Capitol. I mean, you know, and that's the whole thing. It's just like, not only is it just underlying evidence that we ain't even found out about, we got him just blatantly saying it. You know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And that's what.
But here's the problem. They always say, and we already know this, but they always want to point at freedom of speech. But freedom of speech doesn't mean you can say whatever you want to say without the consequences that follow it.
There's always consequences.
Yeah. so-
Why is I need 11,731 votes? Just one more vote. Like
Then they got.
then they got. I need you to find me that. Like that ain't freedom of speech. That's saying hook me up. That's what
That's
that
saying
said. You know what I'm saying? So
Cheat for me.
and that's really the battle I have. Got nothing to do with it. It's blatant things that he said and he's done. And I forgot. Maybe if you have evidence on somebody doing something that you're accusing them of, maybe they should be held accountable for that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability.
Yeah,
That's
you know
a
what I'm
word.
saying?
That's
So,
a word. That's
but we got to play these games. I mean, like I said, we got dudes that on a suspicion, they go hold you and lock you down to your court date. And you know,
Yep.
people in jail sitting right now
For
on a
months,
suspicion. They
years.
building the evidence on you while you sitting in jail.
Yeah.
You know, and this dude, not only does he have 4 indictments, major indictments, and he's sitting nowhere. He's able to travel, talk, do what he want to, campaign for president. He got enough nerve to talk about a 2-tier justice system. Come on.
He's part of the establishment. So of
Yeah.
course he's gonna
Yeah.
get treated a little different. He's gonna get ushered
A
around.
lot different.
Exactly. And that's the 2-tier thing. The 2-tier thing is rich people get to do what they want to do. And if you broke and ain't got no money, you like Harrison Lloyd, you sitting in jail right
Yeah.
now waiting for your court
Well,
date.
and what you'll see is that once again, preference, they'll try to switch up the 2-tier justice system to be Democrat versus Republican.
Exactly.
The Democrats don't get to that's not what a 2-tier justice
That ain't
system
it.
is about.
Yeah.
You trying to make it fit your agenda. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. But hey, man, I do want to go ahead and thank our guest, Kerry Kzaggin, for joining us again. Thank you, Kerry, for joining. You know, giving up all the Hey, we got to have you come back, man, in the future. This was a great conversation, man, and your knowledge and expertise is appreciated, my brother. So, you know, I also want to say big thank you to my man Ace. Got anything to say in closing, sir?
You know, nah, man. Yeah, Kerry, man, appreciate you coming on, man. Look forward to your podcast coming on, man.
Appreciate that.
A lot of manhood push. We definitely need that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but yeah, no, man, great conversation. And man, just follow us everywhere you can, man. We on all major platforms there, but subscribe to that YouTube channel and hit us up on the live stream, man. We want y'all to join the conversation.
Word up. Queen Tina, how would you like to close out today, man? What would you like to say?
Just thank you everybody for coming into the conversation on YouTube and on Facebook. We really appreciate your support, and talk about it. Keep talking this week about it.
Yeah.
Make comments. Tell your friends about it. Do whatever you can, because we want to get all sides of this. This isn't just a one-sided conversation. There's men, women, Republicans, Democrats, independents. So
yeah, keep the conversation going.
We definitely gonna bring a policeman Mike on the line. You know, the black Republican policeman that we talked about last time. I want to argue with us. We'll be bringing him on. Danny Sangs, make sure you let him know. He gonna come on here. We gonna get his ass.
Mike.
Hey, but once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.